Here's my add-ins. Here we have Keaton, Bryce, Garrett, and Kyle. Each year, 16,000 people die from alcohol-related automotive accidents. Today I'm going to talk to you about drunk driving and how it affects today's society. I feel I'm credible on the topic of drunk driving because I've done extensive research on the topic and I've done multiple research papers on the topic. Today, the United States has a major problem with drunk driving. I hope by listening to my speech, you will think twice before getting in a car after you've been drinking. The first main point would be that drunk driving is very dangerous to you, and not only you, but the people in your car and the people driving around you. Each year, 15,000 to 16,000 people are killed from drunk driving and automotive-related crashes. 40% of automotive deaths are alcohol-related. And 30% of all Americans at one point in their life will be involved in an alcohol-related crash. Last year, 1.37 million people were arrested for either a DUI or a DWI. My second point would be that getting a DWI is a very expensive thing. On average, a DWI is going to cost the average person about $10,500, not including the loss of work. When you calculate in the lost work and the lost wages, you're at about $16,500 in expenses. Some of the other expenses would be getting your car impounded once you've been arrested. Another would be the DWI classes, the alcohol classes, and the driving classes you have to take once you get a DWI. Also would be the bail you have to pay to get out of jail, the towing cost to have your car towed, and the legal fees for court and your lawyer, and some of the fines associated with the DWI. DWIs in a job. On a personal interview I had with my dad, Jeff Coombe, who is a job recruiter for Cargill, I asked him a question: who would he rather hire if he had two equal candidates, one with a DWI and one without a DWI, and why he would hire that person? His answer was he would rather hire the person without the DWI because he feels that if you get a DWI, you are less responsible and you're not able to think about your actions as well as the person without a DWI. He feels that if you get a DWI, you are not able to make responsible decisions and work for his company. He also said something that once you have a DWI, you hurt yourself when it comes to international travel, because when you leave the country, it's a bigger deal to leave the country with a DWI. Also, you're not allowed to travel into countries like Canada. Also, when you get a DWI, your license is revoked. For the first one, it's for 90 days. And when you have your license revoked, that means you're not allowed to drive to work unless you apply and receive a work permit, which means you can only drive to and from work and nowhere else. And to get one of these permits is very hard, and it's very time-consuming and expensive to get this permit. Also, when you have a job and you get a DWI, your first DWI, you spend up to 90 days in jail, which means that usually you lose your job because no one wants to have someone that's going to take off 3 months in a row. Also, you have to spend a lot of time away from work when you get a DWI because you're in court and in jail. One of the third main points I have would be that getting a DWI is an embarrassment to you and your family. For your first DWI, you have a $1,000 fine and up to 90 days in jail, and no one likes admitting that they're related or know someone that spends time in jail. Your first DWI is a misdemeanor all the way up to a felony, depending on your previous convictions and your blood alcohol content at the time you were pulled over. And these charges are public record, so anybody you know can go in and see these charges. Also, when you have a DWI, you get something called a whiskey plate. And here is a picture of a whiskey plate. And when you get a DWI, you need to re-register your car, and the DMV will give you whiskey plates on all of your vehicles. And to get a DWI, or to get whiskey plates, you have a DWI 10 years prior to this second DWI, or you get pulled over driving